Here's a profound thought about coaching. When you are a coach, you actually become connected to your client in a certain way, and there's no accident as to the type of clients that you end up working with. I'd like to start with a foundational teaching for this segment. A long time ago, the famous psychologist Carl Jung, you've probably heard of Jungian psychology, it's spelled Jung, Carl Jung, right? Carl Jung said something very profound. He said, human beings strive for wholeness. That's fascinating because, on an intuitive level, I think we realize that perhaps something got split off, so we strive for wholeness. So the way I like to explain it is this, right? So when you are born, you are somewhat infinite, right? You have that's why we look at babies and we see their infinite potential. We're very, very, enthralled with babies. And then somewhere along the way, as you were developing and growing, baby walking, et cetera, you did something. Let's say you stole a cookie and you lied about it. You got in trouble. So what happens is you kind of put these qualities that you didn't quite like about yourself into what Carl Jung called the shadow, right? So you kind of said, I'm not a liar, and you kind of threw it in the shadow, right? Likewise, you probably had some gifts that you were particularly proud of. Perhaps you could do a cartwheel or mathematics or recite poetry, or I don't know, something you did as you were growing and developing, something that you did. You did it, and instead of getting all this accolade and appraise, you got slammed. You got, who do you think you are? And you're a show off, and your best friend hated you because you showed off or whatever. And so what happens is you actually took those qualities and you put them over here. I like to call this the light. It's sort of the equivalent of the shadow, but of the qualities that we would consider admirable in a person. And then what happens is so you've created this little container for yourself that's safe because you're no longer getting in trouble for the bad qualities or the good qualities. And that's where you grow and develop. So as a young person, you create a very safe container for you to grow and develop. And this is smart. This is smart when you're growing up, right? Now, eventually, at some point in your development, probably somewhere in adulthood, you start to hit the boundaries of this limit and you want to expand and grow. And this is what precipitates change. This is where clients want to change and grow. So what Carl Jung said was we strive for wholeness. So what we need to do is we need to make all of these qualities that we threw into our unconscious, we threw them out of consciousness. We need to make them conscious again. And what Jung said was, you either become conscious of these qualities from the inside out, or you project them onto others to become conscious of them out there, so that you can become conscious of them through your five senses, so that you can become whole again. So what Carl Jung basically proposed was that it's all you. You don't see the world for what it is. You see the world for who you are. So he says you want to pull these qualities back so that you can expand, this box into your full potential being. So this is called perception is projection. Okay, it's a very heavy duty concept. This is the tip of the iceberg, but I wanted to introduce it because it's very profound in coaching. Because if perception is projection, then technically who the coach work with is a projection of the coach. And this is important for coaches because if you realize that your client, yes, while they are a real person going through real things, if you grow yourself, if you develop within yourself, then what you will enable, if you get in touch with resources in yourself, what you'll do is you'll make it easier for your client to get in touch with resources within them, again, because of this projective inductive loop. So perception is projection. And the best coaches in the world know this. The best coaches in the world know that the client they are working with is merely, or their experience of the client they are working with is a projection of themselves. And so as they enable the client to get in touch with the resources they need to make the change, the coach changes also, and vice versa. And it becomes this incredible loop. And the best coaches in the world know this. And the secret then to being the best coach in the world is to make sure you, as the coach, are constantly growing, constantly pushing your boundary edges, and constantly getting in touch with your resources so that you can continue to serve clients better and better, bigger and bigger, faster, and with less effort.